If you feel a certain way, or you may seem like life is overwhelming, seek out that help. It's a negative stigma from a different time that therapy is only for the weak. I believe only the strong choose to recognize and fight against their demons. It is the weak that fall victim to them. For those of you who know me and saw, I was recently one of 5 people in a documentary called Let's Talk by the wonderful people at Believe Limited. I want to just take a second to thank them for the opportunity to tell my story in the hopes to help others who may be going through some hard times. For more information on them, please see links below. For those of you who didn't see my story, it starts at birth. Born with hemophilia, which is a genetic bleeding disorder. Again, for more information on that, please see links below. A friend of mine killed himself when I was in 8th grade, and it affected me greatly. I remember thinking that his choice to opt out, to end his life, and see what comes next, it wasn't the worst idea. I felt that my meaning in life seemed low and crappy, and that the afterlife seemed better to me. So later, when I was around 19, I very nearly did the same. The hard truth that I have contemplated for more hours than I can count is no matter how strong your belief or your faith, no one really truly knows what happens after death. Faith is an indescribable force. Because of this, it can be very helpful as well as very dangerous. If I have a strong enough faith that the afterlife would be better, then I may end my life. But if I have faith that my future here on this planet will be better, then I will fight to survive. For me, a summer camp for chronically sick kids called Double H Hole in the Woods Ranch, the love of my family, and the innocent yet wise words of a child are the things that saved my life. As this lockdown continues, I've been seeing articles and stories and how suicide rates are up. For me, that is very, very sad, yet it isn't surprising. A lot of people, in fact I'll argue the majority of us, have a lot of problems. Think of them as life's little quirks that get in our way. For some, they are worse than others, but not necessarily harder. I found what makes our problems hard is our own choices to either allow these problems to overwhelm us or take control of them ourselves. I think many people, the majority of us, are right there on the tip of the sword, could fall either way. So as we negotiate the river of life, a tidal wave comes, the unforeseen, drastic, and sudden power that may overwhelm us. The way I learned to see it is very complicated, yet extremely simple. It is a choice we make, whether to ride the waves or capsize, by acknowledging the bad, but focusing on the good. It's really as simple as that. Sometimes that negative may seem overwhelming. Sometimes it may seem right to give up. Sometimes you may freeze in shock. I think that shock may lead you to forget that a crisis, it's an opportunity to learn more, to gain more, to be more. We each have our own paths, and they are ours for the taking if you could just reach out and grab them. If you could turn that boat into the waves, get up over top of it, you will become a better person. It's a choice we all make. Our lives are ours. None of us know what happens after we die, but what we do know is what's around us now. And although some things we have little control over, we do have total control over ourselves, the choices that we make. There's an old saying, is the glass half empty or half full? Are you optimistic or are you pessimistic? This glass represents our lives. The water is what sustains us, the positive. I am a realist. I say if the glass is half full of water, then it is half full of oxygen, the other element of life. So it is always full, even if all the water is poured out. That empty space, the negative, could seem overwhelming, but if you have the will, the power to find a microscope, look close enough, you'll find the beauty that gives us life. When I almost took my life, I nearly jumped off a cliff. In that moment, I decided not to, because of the ones around me who cared about me. Later, I wasn't done and I still wanted to die. But a short conversation with a child that sparked this idea of choice in my mind. Instead of choosing to focus on all the bad in my life, I decided to see the good, which is what ultimately saved my life. But when I was on that ledge, on the cliff face, in those final seconds, I let go. I started leaning forward and I waited for gravity to take over. That last second decision not to fall, in that moment, it shocked me so much my body jerked, I almost fell by accident. For me, that moment, more than anything, keeps me awake at night. Sometimes I might be half asleep, my body jerks, suddenly waking me up in distress. I sometimes think about that moment and how lucky I was not to fall by accident. Maybe others weren't able to catch themselves. Maybe others did fall by accident. It's like a gun to your head. You're holding it there with your finger on the trigger, not realizing it was a hairpin, and you're dead before it's too late. It's best to have never pointed that gun at yourself to begin with. I would have been better off never climbing out onto that ledge and put myself in that position. The 20 years since have been full of a lot of ups and downs, the experiences I've had and the things I've seen, the growing family all around me. These things would never have happened. One day, someday, we all die. The hard truth of life is it'll come. And when it does, then and only then we'll find out what happens next. But until that day, what we do know is our lives, and what we do have control over is how we choose to live them. Find the help you need wherever you can before it's too late. Please, if you feel a certain way, or you may seem like life is overwhelming, seek out that help. It's a negative stigma from a different time that therapy is only for the weak. I believe only the strong choose to recognize and fight against their demons. It is the weak that fall victim to them. Look for the help wherever you can. Everyone works in different ways. Finding yourself is hard, but loving yourself is easy if you simply choose to want to.